Technical update on Bitcoin. Yep, so the sell-off and the 6,073 low that we had so nicely come out of our inverted HVFs, that was around about here. Really fortunate to have got that low. Didn't trade it the best though in the end. Could have been a buyer. Decided to look at a couple of other opportunities on the basis that it might rally, but then still put another leg in. So we did okay with it, but we didn't make the most of it. Nonetheless, it rallied up to here and then formed the left shoulder, head and right shoulder. And the point I'm making here is traditional technical analysis does descending neckline, something like that. That pink line over there would then be projected from your low up to the neckline there, as you see it, and then put over there. That would have missed target, as you can see. It'll eventually get there quite possibly, but certainly not now, and that has not proved optimum. So has the 9,000 neckline option, where you use the horizontal and the key round number. The key value is understanding HVF method and having it in the shoulder. You had a very clear right shoulder in HVF structure that made its target, and the correct thing to do would be to project a target from the axis of the HVF method. You can find out more what the axis is and why it's there, why we consider this a bit of a line of truth, and why if you do volume by price you'll find a large amount of activity across this zone, and it'll nearly always indulge the axis level. So that neckline projected from here would have been the best way on the inverted head and shoulder to pick that high. Note that you wouldn't have had any major sell-offs apart from this that turned up another wind-up upside just as you were getting through the $10,000 fractal level, which is understandably a big level. So no more a bigger sell-off than that. You would have been out up top there only to avoid the volatility of that sell-off. That in itself turned up a wind-up upside, which formed and picked the top perfectly. Then we rolled into what I'd call the head and shoulders to the downside option, which we've just had, where that is a left shoulder. So to illustrate this slightly better, I have Snagit and we can find those images. Let's find that for you there. So you have a left shoulder here and an upside HVF that is all in the funnel. You would have traded that breakout. That was your high. That gave you your head to the head and shoulder. So you would have had the benefit of the long trade from there to there between the blocks. Good line of efficiency. You would have then sold off and dipped down, supported just before the funnel for a short rally, then run through it and taken out the low of the line and had another rally. That gives you your right shoulder. So you would have left shoulder, a smaller right shoulder, a good thing to have for a head and shoulder. Improves the odds for good function down to the downside. So weak right shoulders are good because it shows relative weakness already as you're moving through the pattern. That gray line is your neckline amplitude, which you pick up from the highest point of the head down to here, projected down, and you would have perfectly got it there. So once you had your right shoulder confirmed, you could have been a shorter on the neckline here. This is utilizing HVF method, something we'll teach you and far more, and you would have then had that move. You would have had a return to neckline. That's quite typical. People lose confidence. They would have bottled it, and you eventually get your downside move. It was very close actually, and we always put our targets just within the line, but had you used the traditional head and shoulder method, once again the pink neckline that traditional technical analysis uses, trimming the left shoulder and the right shoulder on what would have been an ascending neckline and taking a pink line all the way from there down to here, the much lower mark, and whether you projected it down from here or even went and projected it from the point of break up top here, you would have in both instances missed your target on the short side. And then on the way back up, nice and impulsive. What we also illustrated in our WhatsApp group when in advance that we were showing is the marginally lower lows and the rounding bottom. You see marginally lower lows, failure to make aggressively higher lows, the rally's getting stronger, eventually leads to you just touching down through your target, and then the impulsive price action that goes to there. Then as you're working your way through those zonal funnels, the downside ones and the upside ones, the fact that we ran the big inverted that gave us that 6,073 target is a bullish signal. generally, and this is just a natural pullback. We didn't threaten the upside HVF here. That was the right shoulder of the inverted. That's off the screen there. All very good generally for Bitcoin, so looking quite a bit more positive. For BTC, BTC is the leader of the recovery at the moment, and it's typically been that kind of way. So you veer away from him too often. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Let's get him back. Let's get him back. Let's get him back. Here it comes. So what you did get a little bit of, I don't know why this image keeps going away. Let's get rid of that snag it shot. What you did get a little bit of is you did get a little bit of a wind up HVF, and we dropped the time frame there in between the two funnels. I'd colored them on the other one so you could see it a bit better, but there's a gap in between two funnels there, so you had a little bit of a squeeze point and then you smashed through it and you got above that upside HVF's funnel, and now you're sitting on top of it. So note as you're getting out of this one and you bump into the next one, resist, squeeze, you get the perfect little fractal of HVF method in there, so that it winds up and gets a little bit of strength so that it can break through, and once it breaks through, it's got enough oomph to take it through that zone, impulsively exhaust back into it, and what previously was resistance is now support. So you're sitting on top layers that were a problem at one point, from the 10.4 all the way up to the 10.650. You can still dip into this again. We could even have a falling wedge back down and a pump back again, but you're on the right side of the fence now. So Bitcoin looking bullish. Overall though, anticipation is this is not what I'd call breakout momentum, so bullish in a sense for now. What my anticipation as a scenario cast would be for this would be for us to get upside up to, we already have a decent potential relative high too, so we're already in a good zone, but I would say somewhere around here tapping out. You've got the classic big old target level over there. Another funnel of defense levels. This was to the downside here, so I think we're going to fail to get to the other side of this red line here on balance of probabilities. This is a guess, but it's just a probability based guess. I'm really not interested if we're not accurate on that, for everyone to come and say you're wrong. It doesn't matter. It's not an ego game. We're looking for a topping out over here somewhere, and I would expect it to be below the red line, potentially in this resistance zone here, in the much the same way as you see the price behavior interacting with the upside funnels over here. So if we top out there and we then would have a sell-off period, everyone would be all cautious and upset again. That would be wrong. This is setting up a bigger structure, or if we go back up to our hourly, for a nice continuation pattern to the upside that is building on the recovery of Bitcoin. So that for HVF traders would be an H1 with your head and shoulders targeted low that was so nicely made, an L1, and we're now looking for a H2 and a dip down for a relative low 2, and it could come anywhere and sit somewhere maybe in one of these previous areas of resistance now as support. So maybe this lower funnel level, you could get a low 2 somewhere in here after we tap out somewhere up top here, somewhere between where we are now or that high point and the red line. So it's not a rush in and buy now. You may have a little bit of gain, but you could wear quite a lot of drawdown. So the smart money, if you're still holding Tether, Fiat, and or other alts that aren't doing as well as Bitcoin because the recovery is left, I wouldn't suggest necessarily, this doesn't show breakout momentum that it'll just rip through here in a straight line above that. It can do, and we can be wrong on balance of probabilities. You're looking for a reasonable pullback for a low 2. We could of course get an ascending HVF. Those who on my program will know what that means, but even still, that still implies you'll have a down leg of some sort or a variety, so you'll be able to pick up BTC then, but it's biased to BTC over the alts at the moment, and also over fiat. I'll also be doing an update on dollar and a couple of other interesting thoughts on the reset channel, the reset sniper channel. If you're not subscribed to the reset sniper channel, you might consider it. I've got some interesting thoughts to share. That is more about the politics, the economics, and events. And also, if you're not subscribed to the market sniper, you will miss the dollar based aspect. This does have bearing on interest rates, bonds, and also how Bitcoin will do as it starts to become a viable alternative, aka cryptos more generally, and BTC potentially as one of the major components as a viable alternative to the dollar if we have a fear moment. So I'll be doing something on both those other channels. If you want to hear and be part of that, remember to subscribe. I'm asking for nice conduct on the comments after recent YouTubes. I'm just blocking people that just don't show respect. That doesn't mean you have to agree. Just talk respectfully and make your point. Anybody whose conduct is just really weak and yay boo, I'm just blocking. I don't have an ad model. I don't have to have people. I'm not chasing numbers, and I only want to share with people who enjoy what we're doing and have a certain level of maturity. So please bear that in mind. It's not a threat. I don't mean to be, it's not trying to be ego or arrogant. I just don't want one of those classic YouTube keyboard warrior comment sections. Okay, with that, I love you and leave you and speak to you then, and thanks for following and sharing with other like-minded mature individuals who may benefit or value this kind of content. Speak to you again soon.